known as Indie Streams on Ravelry and, well, Ravelry. That's pretty much the only place I am on the interwebs right now. Thanks for everyone that's coming back, returning viewers, and welcome to anyone that's joining us for the first time. So let's go through what we have going on right now in the group. So in the Ravelry Indie String group, we have kind of two things going on. The first one has to deal with iTunes. I am basically giving away a skein of yarn for every 10 people who leave a comment or a star rating on iTunes. If you leave a comment, fantastic. Your name will pop up when I see your comment. But if you leave a star rating, there's no way for me to see who has done that. So if you do, just PM me on Ravelry and I'll put you in the group. So for the first 10 people who enter, we're going to be giving away this skein of hand spun, which is something that I spun up. It's about 200 yards of a worsted weight in merino silk, merino superwash merino and silk, and it was dyed by Pigeon Rose. So we're giving this away. I think we are up to 6 or 7 people, so there's still some chances. And I want to thank everyone who went out there and did it for me. I have enough reviews now that I have a star rating, and that's super awesome. I'm so excited about it. So now I'm searchable. So thanks so much for everybody. So we'll do this for the first 10, and then we'll do another skein for the next 10. I'll just keep it going for quite a while. So there's that. And then the second thing is for the month of April, we're having a cal that has to deal with autism awareness. Autism's, the NAA, National Autism Awareness, and Autism Speaks, their colors are blue. And so we're going to do a blue cal. So I know when I talked about it last week, I said it was going to be for April, but I'm actually going to extend it for April and June because I'm behind on my knitting. See how you can do that if you host your own video podcast? You can send stuff out. So the finished project just has to have blue in it. It can be anything. It can be anything fiber related. So weaving, spinning, knitting, crochet, felting, it doesn't matter. You just need to post a finished picture in the Ravelry group, and you must be a member of the group to participate. And we're giving away this skein of Plucky in the Plucky Classics MCM Light, and it's in the Sisters colorway. So that is the prize. So because it's a cal, right this week I am doing a little off-kilter thing for this month, and I'm going to talk about autism in the beginning of the podcast. So, and this is also going to kind of be my rants and raves section because a lot of it has to do with my daily life. So, my daughter, who is 5, has been diagnosed with autism, and you know, we deal with that on a daily basis, of course. So, as much as possible, I try to shove her out into the big wide world and interact with her peers. And so, one of the big things that we're doing this time around is swimming. Because she's super excited. She loves the water, and she is pumped. Every single time I say we're going in the pool, she is beside herself with excitement. Like most 5-year-olds would be, I would think. And she is just over the moon. So we went to class, and the first time was okay. What you have to understand is an autistic kid. So she has a very hard time separating stimuli. And what I mean by that is, if a neurologically normal adult, let's say, was talking to me and the TV was on and the radio was on, I could ignore both the TV and radio and listen to the adult that was talking. However, for her, she really can't. She does not have that capability. She can't really focus on any one thing because her focus is split between 3 things. And so her attention span, some people think it's really short. And actually, for her age and her condition, she has an exceptional attention span. But coupled with the fact that there were multiple groups swimming, there was multiple stuff going on, and she was super excited, she had a hard time with the first swim class. And what happened was, is that there were 5 kids and 1 teacher. And they put them up on a shelf, and they were like, well, sit here, and we'll work with each one individually. So there was one teacher to these 5 kids, and they worked with each one. Well, my daughter was like, you just want me to sit here? And it wasn't like you were sitting for a minute. You were sitting for 3 minutes to 5 minutes, depending on how long they were working with each child. And so she was getting not frustrated, but she wanted to play. She was getting bored. And so she jumped in, and she would just stand in the water, and the lady was like, no, you have to sit, and she jumped back up. And so this next class, they added another instructor, and they added another kid or 2 kids. So it got a bigger class, and it really needed 2 instructors, but that instructor was really there for my kids. I'm going to be honest, it was there. So the new little girl that they put in that class was darling. She was cute as a button, and she was super well behaved. Unfortunately, her parents sat by me, and I could hear what they said about my kids. Hard to not stand up and say, hey, you don't know what's going on, and you're making bold-faced judgments about me and my parenting and my child that are completely false. Because my kid has a hard time sitting for 3. Now, you added another kid. So now she has to sit even longer and just wait. They don't get anything to play with. They have nothing to look at. Nothing. Just sit there. Come on, they're 5. I know that your kid is super well behaved, but they're just little kids. And so my husband was like, man, you should have marched over there and said something. And I can't say something to every single parent that says something bad about me or my kids. It's just unrealistic. And so I just want to tell people, like, try to have a little understanding, My kid wasn't being disruptive. She wasn't hitting. She wasn't splashing water in anybody's faces. She wasn't screaming. She wasn't having a meltdown. She just had a hard time sitting there. So you don't always know what's really going on. And this whole process has taught me, don't judge that person in the supermarket whose kid is having a meltdown. You have no idea why that kid's having a meltdown. Maybe they're tired. Maybe they're sick. Maybe they wanted marshmallows and they couldn't get them. But, to judge the parent and basically say that I'm a bad mom because my kid can't sit there, it's harsh. Super harsh, and it's harsh to hear. So that, I had a hard time this week. Because I hate that people don't give my kid a chance, or give anybody's kids a chance. It's not necessarily only about me. I mean, think of all the kids they must think are awful, or not want their kid to play with because of a snapshot, a small slice that they see. And they're not willing to broaden themselves out to see anything else. And I think that's kind of sad. And what are you teaching your child? So I guess it's a little judgment back on them. Probably shouldn't do that. But, try to do more. But I can't stop it. So I just have to get tougher skin. Kind of sticking that skin up. And then the second thing I wanted to talk with that has to deal with my daughter and autism is that I want to thank everybody for the notes that were sent to me, the DMs on Ravelry, and the comments on that week's episode. I really, really do appreciate it, and I read every one, and it was awesome. It was awesome, first of all. Sometimes you feel like you're alone, and I know I'm not, but it doesn't stop myself from feeling that way every now and then, and it was great to kind of have that busted open. Say, you're not alone. There's other people dealing with the same things, and kids dealing with it, grandparents and aunts and uncles and everything else. So that was really kind, and I thank you a lot. The second thing is, particularly to one lady who just is encountering a diagnosis. So with a child. And what I try to say, but I don't know how eloquent I was in DMs, was, follow what you know. I have literally been told everything by therapists. I've been told that my daughter has a super high IQ. I have been told that she is way below average. I have been told she'll never live on her own, she'll go to college. I mean, you pick a spectrum and you can get there. And a lot of times their concerns seem absolutely crazy. Just crazy to me. When she was 3, they came over to, we have these meetings of all the therapists and we talk about what's going on with my kids and where we're working and everything else. And they came over and they're like, well, she's a picky eater. That's extremely common in autism. A lot of autistics are very picky eaters. My kid eats between 20 and 30 things. I don't think that's super picky, but okay. And she used to be pickier, so I understand where they were coming from. She said, well, you really need to change her diet. I said, well, I'm not that concerned. If she's 26 and still eating chicken nuggets, I'll tell her to take a vitamin. It's going to be okay. I'm not uber concerned. And they're like, no, you really have to do that. And I was like, well, she eats vegetables twice a day, she eats fruits every day, she's really lacking in protein, but what are you talking about? They're like, well, you really need to increase her protein, and you really need to increase her vegetable intake. And I'm like, why? Why are you so concerned? She gets a multivitamin. I've had blood tests done of every sort. She's not deficient in any of her vitamins. Like, why? They're like, well, you really have to look forward to menstrual cycle. 3. She was 3, and they were talking about something that could happen between the ages of 9 to 12. So sometimes you have to pull those people back and be like, not really concerned about it right now. Right now I'm concerned with this thing, or these 3 things that are happening that we need to work on. I mean, I have been told, ball to my face, your daughter will never have friends. Your daughter will never be in society. You have to realize that those people think that they're helping you. They're preparing you for this eventuality in their mind. But really, I cannot believe you can look at a parent and tell them that my kid will never have a friend. How awful are you? Like, seriously, it broke my heart. Not because I think it's true. Not she has friends now. Friends that she plays with every week that ask for her to come over and love her to death. But because, how can you tell somebody that? I don't really understand it, but so kind of grow a skin if this is where your life is right now. Stand up for you and your kid, and don't believe everything they say. It's really hard to tell yourself if you're talking to a doctor or a therapist that, I don't believe you. And sometimes I have said it. Absolutely not. Don't believe you. My daughter was first diagnosed. They wanted her to have 40 hours a week of therapy. 40 hours. You know how much therapy that is? I was like, first of all, who can afford that? But second of all, she's not going to have a childhood. You want her to spend 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, with a therapist? Oh, yeah, she'll get great results. And I'm like, I'm sure she would. But at the same time, she's just a kid. Let her play. Let her have friends. Let her experience. And learn through experience instead of sitting. And what they were talking about was sitting at a desk with a therapist, face-to-face in a classroom or a silent room, therapy 8 hours a day. I'm sure that would really help, and it's very, very proven, and it will be great for some children, but wasn't the right choice for us. And I'm very glad that I made the decision not to do it that way. I have a different system that we built around my child, her skill set, and her weaknesses. And so, it's way more involved than people think it is, I think. Or I just took for granted when people were like, oh, my kid has, dyslexia or autism or some kind of learning disability, or unless they were pretty much physically disabled, before I had a kid, I was like, oh, you get on, everyone has their lot in life. I very, very involved, and now I have so much more respect for those people than I used to. Now that we're 14 minutes in, let's get to the knitting. So my daughter had, so we'll add this to the rants and raves, because it has to do with knitting. So at the place I take my daughter to, there was a little boy there that was sick. He had super red eyes, and he was congested, he was coughing, and I dropped her off in the morning, and I'm like, is he okay? He's not looking so hot. And they're like, oh, he has red eyes, allergies and congestion. And I'm like, okay. By the time I picked my daughter up, she had pink eye. It's like, oh, so he's pink eye, great. And they're like, oh no, he doesn't have pink eye. And I'm like, really, where did my kid get it? Like, I've been here and home. So they're like, oh no, he does not have pink eye. Absolutely not. So I felt so bad for the kid. He ended up, he did have pink eye. He had an ear infection. He had congestion, and he was passing a kidney stone. And his mom still brought him to daycare. I know I'm very lucky. I shouldn't judge. That poor boy was miserable, and I felt bad for him. And then, in turn, he got every other kid sick. Every other kid is now sick. So, unfortunately, my daughter had pink eye, and the same virus that causes pink eye, a certain kind of virus, also can cause ear infection. So, my daughter, once we got her through the pink eye, now has a double ear infection and doesn't feel good and has super bad congestion. So I haven't really knit that much. I honestly have been to urgent care. I've been to the doctor. I've been everywhere under the sun this week, so sorry about that, but I will show you what I have done so far. So I am knitting the full proof, towel. And last week, I think, yeah, I had this middle section done, and I was working out on this way. I was almost done. I think I had 2 more stripes left to do on this side. So I finished up that side. Isn't it beautiful? And then I went on this side. And you pick up from this side and you knit. So this is knit out of Pigeon Roof and our high twist sock. This purple color is called, I think it's called Color of Pale. Pale of Gray. Sorry, it was a one-off. It wasn't named on my screen. She later came up with the colorway after people asked for it. And then this variegated colorway is Mystical. And I really love them together. You can get a good. So I'm almost done on this side. I have, I think, 9 more rows to go, or 18 more rows to go, 9 more garter ridges to go on this side. And then I will join it together. And then weave in a million ends. This, just due to construction, has a lot more ends than I would have initially believed. So I carried the yarn up the sides for the color changes. So like in this side, I carried the Mystical color up along the edge so I didn't have to cut it every time. But I would say I have 15 ends to weave in maybe. Some of that was due to my own fault of not carrying it up right and then ended up cutting it. And some was due to the yarn. And some was due to the pattern. So I hope to have this done next week. I can already tell you that I love this. I love it. So I am, I think, keeping this for myself as a nice light towel to wear in the summer. Seems like in the summer, in the daytime it's so hot, and you will have a campfire or whatever at night, but I get cold. I end up wearing hooded sweatshirts, zipped up hoodies quite a bit, and I wanted to knit a cowl that was lighter to put on with like a lighter coat. But anyways, I love it. It's been going great. The pattern's wonderful. Really good instructions with a lot of photo detail and explanation for how you measure where she's talking about in the pattern, the cowl itself. So that's really wonderful. It's a very good beginner pattern in my thoughts. You need to be able to not even cast on, do a slip knot, bind off, I think. You need to be able to do decreases and increases. And that's it. Pretty easy. It's a great mindless pattern, which has really helped me this week when I've had to set it down and pick it up so many times because seriously, I'll sit down, I'll knit like 14 stitches, which is not even a whole row, but a quarter. And my daughter will be like, I want some chocolate milk. So then I'll go get her some chocolate milk. And then she'll be like, oh, I'm really hungry. I'm like, you are really, really milking this whole sick thing, aren't you? So the second thing that I am knitting is a pull from the work and process basket. And I haven't done a lot, but these have been in my purse when I have been going out. I knit them at gymnastics and some other places because the towel is getting kind of big, especially for swim. It's pretty big for me to pull out and have it on my lap. It's wet, obviously, it's a pool, but the kids just run by the whole time, and it's just like you're almost always in like a little tiny puddle, and I don't want that chlorine water to get sopped up into my yarn, so I have retired that to the home front, and I've been keeping these socks in my bag. So these are out of trekking, and it is a discontinued colorway. This colorway is 5 years old, maybe? A long time. But these socks are for my dad, who thank goodness is colorblind, so he's not going to be able to see that really, really dark, purpley red color right there. He'll never know unless he watches this. So then, if he watches it, you know, just take it, or you don't need them. Darn. Okay. So, anyways, I'm just working out the foot. I have only about an inch left to go before I start to toe, and he has bigger feet than me. That's for sure. I didn't know how big his feet were until I asked him the other day. So I put this down partially because I didn't know his foot size, and so I didn't know how long I had to make it. I made it a little bit longer than I would have made my sock, probably about the length of my husband's foot. And then I forgot to ask him, so it's been seriously sitting there for 6 months at least. So I want to get up and get these done. Father's Day is fast upon us, and it would be great for him to have hand knit socks for it. Trekking itself, this is the first time I've knit with this yarn. It is a really good yarn. It's sturdy. It isn't the softest thing I've ever touched in my life. I wouldn't say that it's like knitting with merino. It's definitely a workhorse yarn. But the fabric that it creates is really quite sturdy. I'm knitting it on 72 stitches on size 1, and it's knitting into a nice, sturdy, dense fabric that I think will really take the wear and tear quite well. So I'm really hoping that he doesn't wear a hole in these as soon as maybe if I knit with just 100% merino, because my dad wears, boots every single day. And a lot of times, like in the winter, he'll wear double socks. So, we're getting those done. I hope that I can get to the toe this week and have a hope. So those are what's in my purse. I probably won't show them again until I make quite a bit of progress. Because, come on, can you really tell a half an inch on a sock? I mean, I know people say they're knitting on them, and most people who have podcasts really busted out on their socks, at least for me. I no busty it out. Okay. So what you didn't see this week is my blue project for our own cow. You'd think, come on, right? So again, I'm going to use this yarn, which is the Woolen Rabbit, in her Pant Lily base, which is 80% wool and 20% silk. And now I'm going to knit the Rock Island by Jared Flood. I got a little scared when I looked at the progress pictures of some people, but I'm going to try to forge on. I haven't knit lace in a really long time, and this is kind of involved lace. So with my daughter being sick and being home quite a bit and not really having a lot of time, I haven't even wound it, which is super sad. So right after I get done recording, I'm going to round it, and I'm going to cast it on. And so I will start to knit this, especially since that the cowl's almost done. So once the cowl's off, this will be waiting in the wings, round, ready to go, and I will start the lace shawl for our cow. I'm very excited to use this yarn. I've been hoarding it for a while. Beautiful. So let's move on to enabling. So I am in the Hello Yarn Club, and we just got March's shipment. So I'm going to preface this by saying she is very good on her club. She's very, very communicable. She communicates well with all of us. Usually I I know it's April, and you're thinking, man, you just got March? She must be really slow or behind. But there was extenuating circumstances, and she had some personal business to take care of, and which is why the club is late. I just don't want anyone thinking, man, she's really not on the ball. She's completely on the ball. She let us all know about it, and she did get them out as soon as possible. So I'm sure I will get April's club quite quickly. There will be a little less than normal wait in between. But this is Highline in Romney wool top. Oh, it's really not doing it justice. That's sad. See about this side. But this is like a golden color, and I love that golden yellow color. Oh, love it. Looks awful on me, but I love it. And this is a brown, and these are aquas, blues and different aquas. So I think it's very, very pretty. I really, really like it. And I still sing my Lucky Stars every day that I am in her club. So seriously, never thought I would be able to get in it. It's amazing. Oh, it's the lucky things in life, right? So that's all I have this week. See, it was a pretty boring week with a sick kid in the house. So I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope we see you next week. Have a wonderful time, and knit with some love, you guys. Bye!